Hello boys and girls, I'm Coach Rhodes, and I'm here to talk to you about project-based learning. And after I'm done talking, you'll take a quiz over some things that I've talked about. So please don't stop and take the quiz now, because you won't be ready. What is the buzz about PBL? You're about to find out. PBL is based on these steps right here. We have launch, plan, research and work, create and critique, and share. Today, we're going to talk about the launch. When you get to class, you're going to get several documents on your table with your group. And so don't freak out. It's a lot of information, but I'm going to explain every sheet bit by bit so that you understand when you come into class what each sheet means. The first thing you're going to see is something called a challenge brief. Challenge brief will tell you exactly what your assignment is. It gives a little background information. It gives you what's called a challenge, a driving question, and it also tells you the different requirements. The next thing you're going to see is project team roles. So kind of be thinking about what job you want to do. We have project leader, materials manager, the time manager, resource tracker, the scribe, the communication manager, team photographer. And when we're talking about roles, the project leader ensures that the work is evenly divided among group members, that no one is left hanging without any job to do, and that everyone has the necessary resources to do their research and their work. The materials manager keeps up with all of the materials needed. If there's anything that you need to get from the teacher or from the facilitator, then the materials manager would do that. The materials manager doesn't need to be somebody who's not responsible, because they are the one that's keeping up with all of the documents. Then we have the time manager. The time manager makes sure that all of the deadlines are met, that all of the desk crits and progress checks are met. The resource tracker keeps a master list of all of the resources used during the project, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. The scribe will write everything down. If there's one thing that needs to be turned in, a written document, then the scribe would do the writing. The communication manager is in charge of the chat tree, which some of you have this in your room, some of you don't. I'll just explain a few of the items here. The check mark, which means you're ready to move on, you're ready to go to the next step. The question mark, I have a basic question about the project. Okay, then you would put up the question mark. Oh my gosh, I have this fantastic idea that I have to share with you right now. Light bulb. Love that one. SOS, we need help right now, miss. Our internet's down. Something like that. You would use the SOS. Whoa, it got dark. Miss, we're a little bit behind. We need 5 more minutes. You use the +5. Miss, we're really behind. We need 10 more minutes. Then you would use this card. Please don't use this card. Then there's the team photographer, who would take pictures for the group if you need it for your project. Those are just a few of the possible jobs you could be doing with your project-based learning group. Keep that in mind. The next thing you're going to see is the team project plan and contract. This is one of the most important sheets because it helps you sort of organize all of the steps. On the first page, you'll see title, driving question, group name, and audience. So the title means like the title of the project, group name, group breakfast taco, whatever you want to be. Audience, who is this project for? And driving question, what is the driving question? What is the challenge? What are you being challenged to do? And so then it says project requirements. Is it a multimedia presentation? Is it an essay? What are the project requirements? You'll list those there. This is to be filled out by the team leader, by the way. Also, what we know. What do we know about what we're doing? And then you'll write that here. What do we need to know? Questions that might come up during this project, and possible resources. Okay, curiosities. What are we curious about? That goes here. The next page. Here's research questions. This is a really important page of the team project plan and contract, because you're going to come up with research questions for the different group members in your group to research. So everybody in the group will have both a role, either team manager, communication manager, scribe, whatever your role is. You'll have a role and you'll have something that you're researching. So these coming up with these research questions are really important, because you have the question and then you have who is studying that, who is researching that. Also, you have workshops listed down here and desk crit. I'll take a second to mention workshops to you. Workshops are things that you can sign up for if you need additional information on something. So say you're in your group, you're studying, you're researching, you're working on your projects, and something comes up that you really don't know about, that you're really struggling with. I'm really struggling to learn how to work iMovie, or I'm really struggling with this particular concept and what it means. Then there will be a designated area in the classroom where you'll sign up for workshop. So you'll write on the list, you'll say workshop on iMovie or whatever you would like more information about. And then each group member, there'll be a time, I'll set a time for when we're going to have that workshop, and then each group will send one member from their group to the workshop. And so I may put 12:30 next to the workshop, and then you'll come to the designated area in the room where the workshops are, and I will teach those people, one person from each group, about that particular subject. And then that person will go back to their group and teach the rest of their group about what I've taught you. And so it's like mini lessons broken up. So there's a spot right here for workshops. What workshops do we need to go to? Desk crit. Desk crit is at the end of the project when the facilitator, that's me or whoever your teacher is in the room, they come by and kind of check your progress. It's more than a progress check, because it's kind of when you're almost done with your project that you can request a desk crit. This is a really important section of the team project plan and contract. It is the group members. You're going to, this is like you're signing a contract that you're going to commit to doing your role. And so you'll sign your name here, and then you'll write what your role is. I know what some of you are thinking about project-based learning. Smart kids, you hate it. Lazy kids, you love it. It's not going to be like that, I promise. If you're one of those students who loves group work because you don't end up having to do any of the work, well, guess what? Your group mates can vote you off the island if you're not doing your share. If you don't participate in the group work, then you don't get the benefits of being in that group. So in the team project plan, there's a little section down here called Team Conflict Protocol. Okay, so as a project leader or anybody else in the group is working on this project, you have the opportunity to write down the team member who is not doing their share of the work. There will be an intervention, and I will get involved. If this happens multiple times throughout the project, you can vote that member of your group off the island, and that person will have to complete the entire project by themselves, which is a very overwhelming task, and you don't want that to happen to you. The next page in the contract is the daily to-do list. Okay, so this is what you're doing today. So I expect what kind of a goal? I have this. I've got to research A, B, and C, and I've also got to go to this workshop at this time. Okay, so daily reflections. What did you accomplish? What did you learn? What did you wish? And tomorrow, what will you do? The next thing, this is called a research summary, and this is for the resource tracker. There's a job that's entitled the resource tracker, and so you will keep this piece of paper. It will be tracking all of the resources that your group members use. So you'll have one master list of resources, and if you need an additional workshop on how to actually cite and get resources, then sign up for that particular workshop, and we can help you. Just before you do a desk crit, you're actually going to do a peer critique. And so you're going to show your project to another group, and they're going to give you warm and cool feedback. Okay, so a bad example of giving another group warm feedback is saying something like this: "It was awesome." Okay, that is not an accurate form of warm feedback. Here is a good example of warm feedback. This project was neatly organized and has great visuals. That's a great warm feedback. You'll also give cool feedback. This is a bad example of giving a group cool feedback. It sucked. A good example of cool feedback would be saying something like this. Great project. However, you might want to make smoother transitions between concepts. Aw, that's great cool feedback. Next thing in your stack of papers is the project calendar, and this kind of outlines where you're expected to be what days. Okay, right now we are doing the launch part of the project, so you don't have to do that part. And when you get to class, you'll be preparing your team and doing the plan and the planning part of the project. Okay, so you'll know when you're supposed to be planning, researching, creating, and when you have to actually share and present. Also, you'll know when the grades are going to be taken, when you're going to get a desk crit grade, when you're going to get quiz grades or soft skills grades, individual grades, team grades. All those things will be outlined for you in the calendar. One of the last things you'll see is the project rubric. Your entire project, it should be based on this rubric so that you know exactly what if you're meeting expectations, if you're approaching them, and if you're exceeding them. This tells you exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Some of the grades will be individual, some of them will be group. I, or your facilitator, will be keeping a close eye on each of the groups and monitoring those soft skills such as collaboration and attitude and teamwork, as well as if you've mastered the skills that you need to master during this project, if you have a good product at the end, if you've done your research. So this is pretty much the basic gist of project-based learning. If you feel confident in what you're about to endeavor next time you get to class, then you may go ahead and take the pre-assessment quiz. Get ready. It's going to be awesome.